My aunt threw boiling water at my dad when he asked her for help and said he deserved it for being a beggar. Now, she's the one begging. When I was 15, I got diagnosed with a bone tumor in my leg that needed immediate surgery. The operation would cost $30,000 after insurance, and we had 2 weeks to come up with it, or I'd risk losing my leg. My dad worked construction, and my mom cleaned offices at night. They'd saved $8,000 over 10 years for emergencies. Dad swallowed his pride and went to his older sister Linda for help. She owned 4 rental properties and had just bought a vacation house in Florida. Dad hadn't asked his family for anything in 20 years, not even when Mom had complications during my birth. Linda was having tea with her book club when Dad showed up. He explained about my tumor, showed her the medical papers, told her we'd pay back every cent with interest. Linda stood up, walked to the kitchen, and came back with a pot of hot water she'd been boiling for more tea. She threw it right at my dad's feet, splashing his legs. She said that's what he deserved for showing up at her house like a beggar, embarrassing her in front of her friends. She told him maybe if he'd made better career choices, he wouldn't need to grovel for money. Her book club sat there watching my dad's pants soak through with boiling water, while Linda lectured him about financial responsibility. Dad left with burns on his ankles. He never told me what happened, but Mom did years later. They borrowed from loan sharks to pay for my surgery. Dad worked 3 jobs for 5 years paying it back. Linda never asked if I was okay. She showed up at my high school graduation though, made a big speech about how proud she was of her family's accomplishments. She actually took credit for my recovery, telling people she'd been there for us during tough times. She asked why Dad was limping and he said, old construction injury. She laughed and said, that's what happens when you choose manual labor. For 10 years, Linda kept getting richer. She'd brag at every family event about her properties, her investments, her vacation homes. She'd give Dad unsolicited advice about bootstrapping and working harder. She'd point at me and tell everyone how well I turned out despite my parents' financial struggles, like poverty was a choice they'd made. She never knew Dad still had nerve damage in his feet from the burns. I became a physical therapist, which Linda called a waste of my potential. She said I should have gone into business or real estate like her. She'd introduce me as her niece who settled for healthcare work. She'd tell people at least I was employed, which was more than she expected given my background. When I was 28, Linda's husband Robert got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. It was aggressive and needed experimental treatment, not covered by insurance. The cost was $200,000 up front. Linda had the money, but it was all tied up in properties she couldn't sell fast enough. She needed liquid cash in 3 weeks, or Robert would miss the treatment window. She called Dad first, said it was different because this was life or death, not like some routine surgery. Dad reminded her that my tumor could have killed me too. She said that was different because I was young and would have recovered either way. Dad said he didn't have money and hung up. Linda called me next, crying about how Robert was dying and she needed family support. I asked her what she meant by support. She said just a small loan of $50,000 until she could sell one of her rentals. I told her I remembered what happened when Dad asked for help, and the answer was no. She said she didn't remember that. Must be confusing her with someone else. I asked if she remembered throwing hot water at Dad. She went quiet, then said that was a misunderstanding and a completely different situation. Linda spent the next 2 weeks calling every relative, begging for money. She'd sold herself as the rich, successful one for so long that nobody believed she needed help. Her book club friends said they couldn't mix friendship with money. Her tenants said they'd love to help, but times were tough. Her financial advisor said liquidating would take at least 6 weeks. She showed up at our house at midnight, banging on the door. She got on her knees on our porch, literally on her knees, begging Dad to help save Robert. Full story on channel, link below.